So, thank you very much, and may I first of all convey my greetings and thanks to President Jinendra Munot, President of this very prestigious Rotary Club of Pune Central. Also to you, Ashish, for being the secretary and coordinating this meeting technically. Let me say hello to past President Narayan Bhai Rathi, who's the chairman of the programs committee and who has been keeping me informed of all the details. Fellow Rotarians, spouses, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. You know, this is Pune Central is a very special club for me. As Munir mentioned, I came here 10 years ago when he was the president, and I addressed the very first meeting of your club. But I also have other friends, and besides Munir, who he and I go back to many years, we've had a very strong bond with racing. Our families have been for many, shall I say, generations involved in racing. I also have other friends, and I want to recognize them. Firstly, past President Rakesh Bhargav. Rakesh and I have been working very closely in the CSR, and I must mention that Rakesh is on the National Working Group for CSR in India. And I truly value the kind of commitment that he has, and his contributions have been immense. I also want to recognize past President Ravi Kapoor, who is also another outstanding Rotarian for CSR, and he and I have also worked well together. I have my old friend, past President Raja Kharatkar. I didn't see him. I couldn't figure out. I tried to locate him, but I don't know if he's around. But let me say, if he is not, please convey my greetings to him. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really very happy to be here with you. And let me begin by saying that I know there are many other club presidents who are present here today. I'm sorry I have not got your names down to officially recognize you, but I do want to say give a special welcome to each one of you for being here and participating in this virtual meeting. So let me say again, good evening and namaskar to all of you. These are difficult times that we are going through. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit the world so hard, and India is no exception. But we are fortunate that so far we have been not hit as badly as some of the other countries. And for this, we must thank our Prime Minister for the very quick and stern steps that he has taken that has so far helped us to keep this reasonably under control. And I hope and pray, and all of us must hope and pray that we overcome this at the very earliest. So let me, and to me, it's important because we all have to get together. This battle against COVID-19 is one where each one of us must come together. हम सब एक होकर इसको हराना है. And to me, it is extremely important of working together. Let me first begin by saying that I would like to distinguish between the words social distancing and physical distancing. We use the word social distancing, but I would rather use the word physical distancing because it's important that we keep ourselves apart, at least 6 feet, if not more. And that's the norm that we'll have to follow for many, many months, if not years to come. That's going to be the new normal. But I don't think we should be socially distant. And in this day and age, when we are fortunate to have the virtual medium, such as Zoom that we are on today, or other platforms, I have addressed many, many meetings across the country and even been on international meetings where we have used platforms which are different, but which have the same purpose, is for all of us to be socially connected virtually. And many of us, in fact, if not all of us, have families abroad. And I have my own family abroad, and I consider it vital that I keep in touch with them through this virtual medium. I stay connected with my larger family. And of course, with my Rotary family, I think it's extremely important that we stay socially connected. So I would like to use this word, physical distancing, extremely important. We've got to keep ourselves apart, but we've also got to stay socially connected. I want to, I believe very strongly in this whole concept of teamwork. And I'm going to address each one of you, the presidents of the Rotary clubs who are all present. President Jinendra, you're here. Your colleagues, your other presidents are here. And when I speak to districts, when I speak at district seminars or virtually now, I continuously stress that, you know, we as individuals can do so much. And we're doing a lot. But I believe that each one of us, given our leadership qualities, given our commitment, given our knowledge, we still need that one little bit extra, which is that quality of teamwork. I believe if we work together, we do much, much more than what individually we can do. To me, we had a mantra in 2002 and 3 when I was governor. That's almost 18 years ago. And the mantra was, working together works. And so I would like to really emphasize this whole belief that teamwork makes the whole difference. 1 and 11 does not become 12. 1 and 11 becomes 111. That's the synergy of people working together. And I'd like to share a small story of, it's a true story of Charles Plumb. Some of you may have heard it, but please bear with me. Charles Plumb was a fighter pilot on the USS aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk. And he flew many sorties from the aircraft carrier into Vietnam, where he threw many bombs in North Vietnam. In one of these sorties, his plane was shot down. Luckily for him, before the plane came down, he ejected and his parachute opened so that he came safely down and landed. Of course, he was taken prisoner and he spent the next 6 years of his life in prison. When he came out from prison, he changed his whole career to become a motivational speaker, talking of leadership and what he had learned during his years in prison. One day, Charles Plumb and his wife were sitting in a restaurant having dinner. Suddenly comes up next to him this huge burly man, really well built like a wrestler, comes up and says, "Hey, you're Charles Plumb, aren't you?" And Charles Plumb looks at him and says, "Yes, I am. Who are you?" And he says, "I'm the guy who packed your parachute." And for a few moments, Charles Plumb couldn't look up from his plate. And suddenly he got up, took the man's hand in his hands and said, "Thank you so much. It is only because of you that I am here alive today. Yes, the parachute opened and I landed safely." That night, Charles Plumb couldn't sleep. And he kept thinking of the years in the USS Kitty Hawk when he was a senior officer. He was a captain in the US Air Force. And this guy must have been a petty officer. And he must have passed him often, not even given him a second look, given him a cursory salute because that was the thing to do. But every day, this man would go down into the holds of the Kitty Hawk and do his work of carefully packing every single parachute so that when and if, God forbid, it was needed, it opened out and saved a person's life. And Charles Plumb used this lesson continuously in his speeches. And he said, it was such an important lesson that sometimes we forget to recognize and say thank you to people. Sometimes we don't even say good morning or hello. And I think what the lesson he learned was that every single person that goes to making your vision and your dream successful must be recognized because each one of them is packing your parachute. So let's not forget the importance of being part of a team and contributing to the team's success. As you saw in the video, my first contact with Rotary was as a GSE, a group study exchange team member. To those of you who are senior and would remember the group study exchange, I was a member before I became a Rotarian 42 years ago, way back in 1978. When I went for that program, there was very little that I knew of Rotary. But when I came back, I was imbued with the kind of work and absolutely enthused with what Rotary and the Rotary Foundation did. And I have never ever looked back as far as my commitment to the Rotary Foundation is concerned. And I'm grateful for the opportunity of being of service to my fellow Rotarians and to humanity, to as many people as I can. Of course, our top priority today, my friends, as we sit here in these times of COVID-19, is to fight COVID-19. Fight it together and hope and pray that it soon leaves us. And it will leave us. There is no question. It may be a few weeks, it may be a few months. But when it is over, our priority then must be to go back to eradicate polio. Polio is our commitment. The end of polio is our commitment to the children of the world. If we've done so much since 1984, contributed billions of dollars, helped to mobilize funds for the end of polio, contributed our might to ensure that those precious doses of the polio vaccine get to where it is needed. We cannot give up after having done 99.9% of the work. We've got to do that little bit more to make sure that we end polio and live up to our commitment to the children of the world. Let me quickly come to the fight against the coronavirus or COVID-19. As soon as the trustees, we heard about the pandemic, we were aware, and the lockdown started all over the world at different points. The trustees said we have to do something. Now, we couldn't meet physically. But again, thanks to this virtual medium, our chairman, Gary Wang, immediately called for a meeting and said that there is what is called the Disaster Response Grant. Now, for those of you who don't know, we have a grant which is used only during disasters. It's called the Disaster Response Grant. And the money that is disbursed from the Disaster Response Grant must actually be contributed for us to disburse. So if there is no money, nothing goes out. And when the hurricane came in the Bahamas and Haiti, the disaster response grant got activated. A lot of money came in from individuals who contributed, and then we started disbursing. But when COVID-19 struck and we wanted to use the disaster response grant, there was only $10,000 in the account. And we said, now we have to make the rules that we will give $25,000 for each district's application. Once approved, they will get $25,000 for the disaster response grant, a maximum of $25,000, and get it only once. So what did the trustees do? Immediately transferred $1 million from the World Fund to the disaster response grant. Now, $1 million, those of you who are very good at calculations, and if each applied for $25,000 would give us only 40. So that is what happened. And that ran out very quickly. So we met again within a few days. The trustee chairman called for another meeting where we decided that, yes, there were many, many applications and we needed to be alive. We needed to be alive to giving much more money. And so we decided to give another $2 million from the World Fund to the disaster response grant. Now, what is the disaster response grant used for? So let me quickly tell you that the disaster response grant is used for giving food, for meals, for ration, for sanitizers, for face masks, for PPEs, and something small that could be bought and given immediately for those in need. And so today, as on date, my friends, let me tell you that we have given, let me just get those figures right so that I don't make a mistake. Yes. So worldwide, my friends, we have given 163 disaster response grants, which was about a few days ago. So I may be wrong by just a few here and there. The total amount that we've given is $4.1 million from the Disaster Response Grant Fund for the districts. Now, we have given only $3 million from the World Fund. but the balance has come from individuals who've contributed, from this DDF contribution that districts have made, and also a very substantial amount has come from those Rotarians who had registered for the convention in Hawaii, and since it has been cancelled, said that don't give the money back, please give it to the disaster response grant. And so that total has come to $4.1 million, and that's the amount that we've given. But the trustees also said that we have to give bigger grants. Our global grants also have to be utilized. And we realized, my friends, that the global grants have this condition of getting an international partner to contribute 30% of the total project cost. But we said, the trustees decided that no, we will make this easier to do. And so we said, let us make this amendment that the global grants will require an international partner, but will not require the partner to contribute any amount at all. They could contribute if they wanted to, but it was not conditional. So this huge change has made districts and clubs around the world start applying for global grants. And as on date, again, my information is just a few days old, worldwide, we have sanctioned 92 global grants, COVID-related global grants worth $8.6 million. In addition, 35 global grants have been repurposed. And when I say repurposed, I want you to understand that there were some global grants which were sanctioned earlier for some other project. But there were some monies left over in these global grants, and those project contacts requested the trustees to please allow them to utilize the balance funds for COVID project. We did that immediately, and those 35 global grants are valued at $400,000. And so the total amount that in 6 weeks, worldwide, the trustees of the Rotary Foundation have disbursed $13 million, my friends, which is almost equal to 100 crores. But what about India, specific to India? So let me give you the figures related to the to India. We have 39 districts in India. 36 districts applied for a global grant, for a disaster response grant. I'm sorry, I must correct that. 36 districts applied for a disaster response grant. 30 have been approved, and that amount comes to $745,000. In addition, the global grants for COVID related, and just as your president informed, one of them is your own club. 31 global grants in India have been sanctioned, and they are totally worth $1.8 million. And this total of the disaster response grant and the COVID related global grants is a total of $2.55 million, which is about 19 crores of rupees. So, and this is all in the space of 6 weeks, my friend. So we've done a very fair amount of distribution. Now the trustees have also not stopped sanctioning global grants other than COVID related. And you as our president, Jinendraji, announced very early in his talk, he mentioned one of the largest global grants that have been sanctioned is to your own district, for the cancer project that you have, which is over $830,000. And so this is huge that we are working towards alleviating wherever we can to do good in the world. We are constantly working to ensure that our funds are used in the areas where they are most needed so that we can continue to do good in the world. But when I speak of $3 million going from the World Fund to the global grant, to giving for the disaster response grant, then there is pressure on the World Fund. As you know, when you give to the annual fund, 50% comes to the district as DDF, and 50% goes to the World Fund. Now, this World Fund is used for matching in global grants. And if there is less $3 million in the World Fund, there is that much less to give in global grants. And I can tell you the World Fund is going to be under pressure. And I would like, and I'm very happy to know that there is a second application you've made. So my request to all the presidents who are sitting here, that if you are thinking of making a global grant, COVID related, please don't wait too long. because the pressure on the World Fund is such that we might run out of it by the end of this month or early June. So my request to you is to please continue. But as I mentioned, the pressure on the World Fund is a constant feature for us. And therefore, my appeal to all of you and to the presidents who are sitting in this Zoom meeting and to all the Rotarians, let us please continue to contribute. I know these are difficult times, and I know it's not right and easy. It's not easy for me to say, please contribute. But I must appeal to you as trustee of the Rotary Foundation. I must appeal to you to please give to the Rotary Foundation. Just one second, my daughter is on the line from America. Just one moment. Zahab, I'm in the middle of a Zoom meeting. I'll call you back, my child. So the appeal is that we must contribute. We must contribute to the polio fund and we must contribute to the annual fund. It's only the annual fund that will make our world fund grow larger. And I'm asking you in these times of where we cannot even move out of the house to think out of the box, to be creative, to have online fundraising campaigns. Today at 8:30, I'm going to join an international telethon, a fundraising campaign across the world, where we hope to raise over $1 million for the Rotary Foundation. And that's a telethon. So this is thinking out of the box. And I urge you, to all of you, my friends, please do think out of the box. Let me just make a mention of one very quick mention of the CSR funds. And I know both Rakesh and Ravi are sitting here, and I need to share with them what has happened about the CSR grants. And therefore, to all of you who are interested to know these details. The CSR grants was a 3-year pilot project. The trustees have now accepted that the CSR the grants will be a permanent feature. So the pilot is over, but we will continue to accept funds in India for CSR contributions. However, there was a small problem where the needs of the corporate were not matching the needs of the foundation. And there was a disconnect. And we have worked very hard. In fact, Rakesh is very much a part of the team whose suggestions have gone to make what I'm going to now tell you happen. So we, the trustees, have taken a call and have directed the staff that our global grants are not fitting into the model for CSR. Now, the district grants cannot work because it doesn't have the same kind of stewardship controls that the global grants have. So we have directed, the trustees have directed the staff to create a hybrid model, a model that would be between the district grant, not as lax as the district grant on stewardship, but not as tight and strict as the global grant is. So somewhere in between, a hybrid model that would suit the requirements for CSR. Now, this is a work in progress. We have just directed the staff to work on it, and it will take probably a couple of months or maybe more for that grant to be approved and then taken forward by the trustees. So I just wanted to bring that to your notice. The other important point that I want to share with you is people often ask me, so Gulam, you are a Rotarian, you're committed to Rotary. How big is Rotary? And my answer could be very easy to say that, okay, every year we give $400 million to the Rotary Foundation, of which $100 million is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But that comes to us, and then we use $400 million from the foundation for giving around the world. But that would be a wrong figure, my friends. Think of this. In early 2019, Rotary approached the Johns Hopkins University to tell them that, look, around the world, Rotarians give of their own energy, their manpower, their skills, give their time, their effort, actually go out and do projects by giving their skills. But we don't compute that. We don't put a value to that. And so not putting a value is diminishing the amount of work that we have actually put in. So we asked Johns Hopkins University to make a scientific estimation, a model that would give the value for this man hours and the manpower that we put in. And they arrived at a figure of $850 million. Later on in the year, 2019, we asked Harvard University. Now, as you know, each one of us contributes to our own club project, not the foundation, but we give it to the club project. We contribute to the district activities. We give for local projects. Nobody puts a value, nobody computes. The Rotary Foundation and Rotary International does not know what this amount is contributed at the local level. So we went to Harvard University and said, please estimate, make a scientific model and estimate how much actual money we put in. And the estimated amount is $1.15 billion. And so if you total $400 million, $850 million, and $1.15 billion, that total amount is $2.4 billion. So my friends, I needed to share this with you, that when people ask, how big is Rotary? Rotary is a $2 billion organization. Let's be proud as Rotarians, we belong to this great organization called Rotary International. We are Rotarians. We have challenges to face. We faced one of the biggest challenges of polio. We brought it down to almost completion. We faced with other challenges and we will overcome. That's who we are. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. So let me end with these few words. I'm not a great shair, but I love these words and I'd like to share it with all of you. Zindagi mein sada muskurate raho. जिंदगी में सदा मुस्कुराते रहो, फासले कम करो और दिल मिलाते रहो, दर्द कैसा भी हो कोई गम न करो, दर्द कैसा भी हो कोई गम न करो, रात काली सही आंख नम न करो, एक सितारा बनो और सदा जगमगाते रहो. Let us make Rotary the enabler of dreams for all people. As Rotary connects the world, Rotary also opens opportunities. Thank you, my friends, for listening. Good luck and God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PDG Gulam, for the talk. I have a few questions for you. I'll start.
Let me just get a glass of water. I just want a glass of water.
Absolutely. Please feel free to put the questions on the chat. Whoever has a question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. Go ahead. Thank you, Jinendra. Please go ahead, Jinendra.
Sure.
Ashish will start with the questions. I must thank for an inspiring speech and the statistic which you showed. It is the first time that as a Rotary Club, we are having this disaster fund mechanism from the Rotary, and it enlightens us to say how big is Rotary, and that's really encouraging and reassuring all of us that Rotary is something out of this world. So over to you, Ashish, please start.
Thank you. So the first question is it necessary to use, you have already answered how much disaster response grant has been allotted to India for COVID-19. It has a follow-up question. Is it necessary to use grant for financially deprived beneficiary only?
Is it for financially deprived?
Beneficiary only.
No, we as Rotarians are committed to helping the underprivileged. I mean, I'm sure that we don't want to, our priorities must lie with people who really need our assistance. And it is those people who don't have much. Why do we give dialysis machines to hospitals? Because those patients who come there can't afford to go to a good hospital. You know, in Hyderabad, let me give this example of dialysis machines. This is a great combination for Rotary, which I love to talk about. So there is a Gurdwara in Hyderabad, which owns the whole building. The prayer hall is on the first floor, and the langar, etc., is all above the ground floor. The ground floor is vacant. The ground floor was given to a foundation called the Mahavir Foundation. The Mahavir Foundation does work in dialysis machines. Now, the Mahavir Foundation approached Rotary to equip that whole ground floor for a dialysis center. So the entire equipment that's coming over there is funded by a global grant from Rotary Foundation. It is run by the Mahavir Foundation, and the space is owned by the Gurdwara. Look at that tremendous partnership. And you know how much they charge the patients, Ashish? 200 rupees.
Oh.
Now, let that patient go to a big hospital and pay, what, 1,500 or 2,000 rupees for a dialysis? So we are working for the underprivileged. And I'm proud to say that we must continue to work for people who need that support. Today, for example, the disaster response grant, the food we give, the rations we give, it is to those people who have nothing. Absolutely nothing. They are destitute.
Absolutely. The next is, it's an interesting question. Once COVID-19 situation is controlled reasonably, like what we did for polio eradication, there is a question that hope Rotary can take up the much needed challenges of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan in India, as cleanliness will help the humanity much to fight COVID-like issues. It is not only for India, but for many other countries also.
Great question, and I'm very happy that I don't know who asked this, but I'd like you to give the name of the person so I can respond.
Rotarian Anil Bora. Rotarian Anil Bora has asked it.
Anil Bora, thank you. So let me respond by saying that just 15 days ago, we have finalized at the Rotary India level 8 verticals. And in the 8 verticals, one is water, the other is sanitation. The other 6 are, I'll just give it to you very quickly. It is health, health preventive, health curative, disaster, CSR, and literacy. Now, each of these, the water and the sanitation, relate absolutely to the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. And we are working very closely with the government of India. The Secretary of the Ministry of Water Resources and of Sanitation are working to help us, guide us, so that we are on the right path and we contribute together. So, to all those who are keen on knowing, Rotary at the India level is completely committed to the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan.
The next one is for the marketing. In our club, and this is coming from Mukund Chiplunkar, in our club, there are some die-hard fans who do not want to contribute to foundation. How to convince them?
Very simple to me. Please take them and show them the kind of global grants you're doing. The only way that people get convinced is to show them the work and the projects that we do to serve humanity. I believe every individual, and let me make it very clear, one of our biggest donors is Mrs. Birla. Mrs. Birla has contributed, I think, a total of $13 million to the Rotary Foundation. But is that all that she has given? According to me, she must have given $100 million for other service, other activities, which includes whatever else that she and her organization believe in. So to those individuals who are still fighting shy of contributing to the foundation, my request to them is please continue to give to your charities, but also give to the foundation, because you can see in front of you your own club doing the work that it's doing through the global grants that we are sanctioning.
Sure. The next question is, in COVID-19, what is the role of Rotarians in early phase and long term? Why we want to compete with world governments?
We are not competing at all. I don't understand that. We are only supplementing the efforts of other NGOs. For example, when we say we are giving from the disaster response grants, we are giving to the poor rations and food ready to eat. My own club is giving 30,000 meals every day. Now it is doing through CSR. It's also doing through some funds that the disaster response grant has given. We are in no way in competition with anybody else. We are only supplementing the efforts of other organizations that are also doing good in this world. And look at the amount of support we are giving to our frontline medical workers, to the doctors, to the medical nurses, the staff who need masks, who need PPEs, who need sanitizers, who need ventilators in hospitals. It is these global grants that are providing. We've given a bronchoscope. I don't even know what a bronchoscope is, but I can tell you that there is something called a bronchoscope that we give. We have ventilators we are giving. We're giving hospital beds. So everything we do is supplementing the efforts, because I don't think government can do everything. I don't think other NGOs can do everything. So we are adding our little bit helps to make that effort more better.
Sure. I have a question, PDG Gulam. While we do a lot of every global grant, I'm assuming will have its own specification. Like something might be for PPE, somebody might be for ventilators, something might be for food, etc. Isn't a thought comes into mind saying that does it better that we standardize it and focus on one or two items and make it a national kind of a moment where we can actually work with government and say that this is one of the things which Rotary will try to provide across India. Because at this point in time, maybe every district or every board of the district is taking a view based on their own
Having a Zoom meeting, I'll call you
thinking.
back.
So my question is that
Yeah, tell me. Sorry, Ashish, you asked me this question about being a national, at the national, why don't we do a national project instead of doing individual?
synchronized project and a simple.
So let me tell you that the basis of all our activities is helping the local community. The needs of the local communities are not the same. What is relevant for us in the south, in a small village or a town in South India, is not what is relevant, for example, in Pune. Let me give you the example of what happened during earthquakes. If you gave wheat, atta to the south, it would have been no value to them. They need rice. If you go to the north, you need to give atta. I'm saying that the basis of the global grant is a community needs assessment. That assumes that the needs of every community is different. And therefore, there cannot be a national one goal. Of course, ventilators are required by all people who require it. And there are our Rotary clubs under the global grants are giving ventilators, but they're also giving other things. They may not require masks, but they require PPEs. They may require sanitizers, or they may not require it. So you have to tailor the needs to that individual community.
Sure. Over to President Jinendra. These were questions from our side.
Thank you, Ashish, and thank you, Gulam, for the interesting question answers. We have still 5 minutes time. I would now request our Vice President Ajay Chitnis to propose a vote of thanks, and to my fellow presidents who are present today, if they have any questions, they can send it across or talk to Gulam after the meeting, please. So over to you, Ajay.
Thank you, Jinan. Can you hear me all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, PDG Gulam, thank you very much for a wonderful, wonderful talk. I mean, it has opened a lot of eyes, I'm sure. As President Jinan mentioned that, knowing about the disaster response grant and how much has come to India has really been an eye-opener. And of course, about the global grants, our club has, in this week, every day we've been getting some good news or the other. And Jinan puts it on the WhatsApp or the news that this global grant was approved, this one has been approved, and 3. So I said, you're making it a hat trick already, so go in for the kill, get all 6 wickets and 6 balls. Anyway, we've been really, no one has been thinking of Rotary the way you have put it. We always thought, 2.4 billion. I mean, nobody would have imagined that is the size of Rotary. And thank you very much for opening your eyes on that. And finally, quoting from your own share, which you said, I will just say the last line to you, Gulamji Sitare Bane Raho. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ajay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ajay. Thanks for the thing. I again thanks Deepak. I thanks all the fellow president, Arvind, Nitin, Mukund, Praveen, who has joined us for this wonderful talk by PDG Gulam, and Munir and Narayan Bhau to have organized this kind of a interaction, and to all my members and club members and the visiting members to have joined this meeting of today's. So if there is no other further agenda online, I conclude the meeting, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Bye, Gulam. Good night.
Hi, thanks.
Unmute and
Hi,
now ask the
Fatima, how are
question.
you?
Fatma is asking how you.
Fine, Gulam, I'm fine.
Thank you. Take care. Good luck. Bye.
Thank you, Gulam. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.